Welcome to Breaking Bread with Big Red. If you like the content, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get into this dish. Let Big Red put you on the Southwest black bean burgers topped with Chipotle aioli. I promise it slaps on the highest of multiple keys. Y'all stick with me and you'll be able to make it yourselves. I also love how economical this dish is. It's probably be a $15 dish somewhere else. We're going to take 2 cans of 15 to 16 ounce black beans and we're going to strain those and wash them thoroughly. Once you've strained your black beans, we're going to add them to a baking safe sheet and make sure to spread those out evenly. We don't want them to bunch up, just to make sure that they're actually drying properly. Set your ovens to 370 and go ahead and leave those in for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so next it's time to prep our ingredients. I'm not going to lie, any burger that I eat, whether it's a beef burger, turkey burger, I think one of the main components that I want to see or I love to taste in my burgers is onion. I know a lot of people don't put onions in the meat mixture in most of our local fast food restaurants, but I think onion just brings a beautiful flavor to any type of burger that you're making. I'm just dicing half of a large red onion. However, white or yellow onions are perfectly fine if you want to use those. All right, family, so really quick life hack. What you see on the screen is a scraper that I got off of Amazon. It is so much easier to go ahead and get your items up off of that cutting board with this scraper. If you're interested, I'll leave the product in the bio below. I usually try to chop onions in bulk as well because I'm always using onions. So next, we're going to take about 4 ounces of baby bella mushrooms, and I'm just going to roughly chop these bad boys. I think it makes for a nice little texture in our black bean burgers, and mushrooms always have a great flavor. Now, I can already hear some people in the comments, why didn't you use portobello mushrooms? Why didn't you use shiitake mushrooms? Look, fam, whichever mushroom you want to use, by all means, use it. I'm a mushroom lover when it comes to food, and I think they give good flavor, so get creative. Now, no offense to my people who like to have a raw diet, but I definitely need to saute these onions and these mushrooms up. I think it just releases flavor when you're able to caramelize those onions, and especially when you cook down those mushrooms. So that's what we're going to do. I'd also recommend keeping your pan on like a medium heat. You really want to give these some time to really sweat down and caramelize. Now next we're going to take some fresh cracked black pepper as well as some pink Himalayan sea salt and make sure to season that thoroughly. All right, so next we get to do the fun part, the actual food processing. We took about 2/3 of the beans that we put in the oven. We set some aside because we don't want to grind those up. We're going to come in with about 1/2 cup of gluten-free flour. Next, we're going to throw our seasonings in this mixture. I started off with a teaspoon of granulated garlic. Then I'm going to come in with about 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper chili flakes. Next, we're going to come in with some beef bouillon. Obviously, we want these to taste as close to beef burgers as possible, and I think this gives a nice depth and flavor. Next, we're going to come in with some paprika. Smoked paprika is fine as well. We're going to use about a teaspoon of that. I already told y'all that I love the onion flavor, so you know we had to come in with some onion powder to really enhance that flavor. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our cumin. We're going to use about 1/2 teaspoon of cumin for this recipe. And I know we already have the red pepper chili flakes, but I like heat, and I think some cayenne pepper is definitely going to add some spice to this burger. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and reach for our adobo all-purpose seasoning. I think it's a nice little cap to our seasoning mixture for these black bean burgers. Then next, we're going to let this food processor do what it do. It's going to process. We really want this to be a powdery consistency when we're done. And don't worry about the texture. We have tons of other items that we're going to toss in. Next, we have our wet ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and crack 2 eggs. Random. I am so happy that the cost of eggs have gone down. Your boy is an omelet fiend, so the fact that it's semi-affordable now is a blessing. Next, we're going to add in a teaspoon of that W sauce, then grab some Creole mustard and add in a teaspoon of that as well. Both these condiments by themselves are very pungent, but they give so much flavor when it comes to mixtures. Next, we have 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Some recipes call for mayo, but we already have eggs, so just use the olive oil, fam. Now here I go again on another rant. I used to use metal whisks, but unfortunately they would always rust on me. So I went ahead with these silicone whisks. If you're interested, I did drop these in the bio below. So feel free to pick them up in my Amazon store. Now, once you feel like everything is well incorporated, we're going to reach for those onions and mushrooms that we sauteed a little bit earlier and just add them to this wet mixture. I'm always using a rubber spatula because I need all this flavor to come out this pan. Earlier, we put about a third of those dried black beans to the side. We're going to add those back in. Add in some minced garlic and a half a cup of corn. Look, if you're not a corn fan, it's perfectly okay to leave this out of the recipe, but I do think it adds a nice pop of color and some good texture. Go ahead and mix all of these items in thoroughly. You want to make sure that everything is well incorporated because next we're going to come in with our dry ingredients. Now, when you first add in your dry ingredients, it might look like the ratio of dry to wet ingredients is a little bit more on the dry side. I would just admonish you to continue to keep mixing it in. The more you mix, you'll start to see the desired consistency. To be more specific, we don't want it to be super mushy. That's why we took the time to bake our black beans and kind of get some of that moisture out. However, we don't want it to be super dry either. We know there's a ton of dry ingredients, so taking the time to really mix this together and make sure that all of our ingredients are incorporated is going to be key. Now, after you're happy with your mixture, we definitely want to take the time to season this with a little salt and pepper. I know we put a ton of seasonings in before, but just take the time. A little salt goes a long way. You should be able to roll these by hands and pat them out into the patty sizes. I believe that this does get you about 6 servings, but I like my burgers to be super big. So with that being said, this made about 4 servings for me with a decent sized patty. Now, once all 4 of my patties were placed on a baking safe dish, I went ahead and preheated my oven to 375 degrees, and I baked all of these patties for 10 minutes on each side. So that's a total of 20 minutes. Now for the fun part, we get to build our burger. I started with the ciabatta roll, went ahead and toasted that in the oven with some avocado oil butter. We came in with those beautiful black bean burgers, and then we topped that with some smoked Gouda cheese. Now I'm gonna sit that back in the oven to broil for about 2 to 3 minutes and make sure that cheese is nice and melted, all right? Now, low key, after this step, you can get as crazy with the condiments as you want. Me personally, I'm not the hugest fan of lettuce on like black bean or vegetarian burgers. Look, it's already veggies. So let's switch up the green stuff and we're gonna add in some tomato as well as some avocado. That's gonna be our green for this dish. Plus, no cap, avocado does so much more for the flavor of a burger than a piece of iceberg lettuce, just being honest. Regardless of what I just said, it's your burger, so do what you do. Now, I've tried a couple different Chipotle mayos and aiolis, but this specific one is from Kraft, and it didn't disappoint. It was actually pretty tasty. And me and my wife are like sauce fiends, like dipping sauces, condiments, we with it, and we trying to get a whole bunch of it, you dig? So you will always see copious amounts on our sandwiches. Now, because of the sauce and the avocados kind of being next to each other, the lid kept sliding. My wifey came in to save the day with the toothpick. Now, I did want to give y'all a quick look at the burger when we cut it in half. Don't worry about the lid falling off. Look, I told y'all that those burgers are really thick. That's how I like it. This is able to feed up to 6 to 7 people or 6 to 7 servings, but because of the thickness of my burger, we only got about 4 patties out of it. And as you can see, it's nice, it's beautiful. I love the colors, the texture, and the seasoning is A1. So if you're looking for a vegetarian dish to try, look no further. And as always, there it is. Again, thank you for checking out my content, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's free.